What's your thoughts?
Well, listen, anything that comes from a human mind could work.
Mm-hmm.
There is no doubt about it. If you
Mm-hmm.
could think it, it certainly could be made to into reality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's what a vision is. And we've seen all around the world what vision turns into. You
Mm-hmm.
had a piece of wasteland, somebody had a vision,
Mm-hmm.
and they put up a project there or they put up a building there,
Mm-hmm.
and the reality of this area, that space has changed,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think what you just mentioned is a very valuable proposition, right? Um, but there are certain things that comes along with it. Having a valuable proposition that depends on the public or includes the public in such a broad way is very important. But I think what the public needs to hear a lot of is accountability part, the accountability parts, the transparency parts of it, and the attendance, the customer service part of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when you involved in the community in such a big way, or seeking community funds to secure this vision or whatever it is that you need, apart from the vision having an outcome, but you have to have a solid customer service and accountability system in it
Mm-hmm.
to manage public funds like that.
Okay.
And public funds, and not just but the training of the operators or the farmers
Mm-hmm.
or the system of the people who's going to be involved in it,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that these people, so what can you do it on a small scale?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you do it on a small scale? Watch the operation, watch the players from both sides,
Mm-hmm.
and demonstrate how you could generate an income for the farmers, for the public, and for the platform or for the institution that organizes
Mm-hmm.
it. Because all these three stakeholders is very important, and even for the government,
Mm-hmm.
and not just for the government, but also for the people who produce, equipment and seeds and all those different things.
Yeah.
If you could demonstrate that on a small scale,
Mm-hmm.
use 10 farmers
Mm-hmm.
or 20 farmers,
Mm-hmm.
use 10 investors or 20 investors,
Mm-hmm.
do a small scale project. Within 2 years, what is the experience? Not just within 2 years, but also what do you need to tweak heavily within the first 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you could figure out those things
Mm-hmm.
and you have a good model to go forward,
Mm-hmm.
then you could expand on that new model and continue growing it.
Yeah, I think the diaspora, has a lot to offer and wants to offer it. And I think we need to find ways to tap into that. I think agriculture is so important in terms of Grenada and the diaspora because everybody needs to eat. And we come from basically a rural society that has been, on the decline for years and years and years. And now we need to see how we get that self sufficiency back and how we, boost agriculture again. One of the things I saw in Queens, Neil, many, many years ago, when I really frequented New York 2 or 3 times a year, was how the Jamaicans appear to have tapped in to their community and how that Jamaican part of the diaspora was really investing heavily in Jamaica. There were forums in Queens. There were different kind of meetings going on. Money was flying to Jamaica in terms of the credit union, etc. Is there anything that you've noticed that maybe Grenada could kind of replicate from what the Jamaicans have done? I know you live amongst lots of different nationality in Brooklyn. It's almost like the center of the world. So, any thoughts you have on how we could tap into our people? Because I know our people in Brooklyn want to be included, and we haven't really found a way to fully include them yet. We need each other.
Right, right. Well, certainly, Jamaicans are they're very entrepreneurial. They have close to 3 million population.
Wow.
Maybe that's in Jamaica. So I'm quite sure they have at least 2 to 3 million on the outside as well.
Right.
All right. Um, and they're also very clannish.
Hmm.
And but when I say clannish, I mean that they have a specific language and a specific music
Hmm.
that they alone dominate
Yeah.
in the world. So the culture is intertwined in such a way that I guess it makes them proud to be Jamaican.
Hmm.
They have good food, they have good people, they have a high entrepreneurial spirit. They really do try things.
Hmm.
They're very creative and they try a lot of things,
They
right?
have Usain Bolt.
And they have Usain Bolt, so they have fame in the athletics world
Hmm.
and so on, right? But the idea is the creation, the formation, the motivation, and the inspiration. How do you trigger that?
Hmm.
All right. You trigger it in a way by getting people of like minds. All right.
Hmm.
And also, not just getting people of like minds, well, getting people of like minds to invest in it.
Hmm.
All right. It's people with strong farming interests, but also for the the thing that houses or the organization that owns this knowledge or owns this vision, right?
Hmm.
It has to be a well-oiled machine. When I
Hmm.
say a well-oiled machine, I mean it has to have all the facets necessary to produce the expected result.
Hmm.
Okay, so of course the visionaries, the computer and technology people, the trainers, the people who train the farmers, and there's something that I learned the other day, and I'll just share it with you because, as I said, trainers, it just reminded me of this. All right, there is three words that we often have to use together in a way. We use them loosely, but they're tightly associated with each other. The first one is protocol. Protocol means a set of rules that you have to work by, whatever it is, right? Whether it's people, whether it's computer programmers, they have to have a protocol, right? You recognize something and you realize that there's a set of rules that makes it work best, right? The next word that you use is strategy, right? Strategy means, well, how do you get these set of rules to work with each other? What are the signs that you're looking for or the mishaps? Because when you're looking at rules, you're filtering out something. So you want to say this one goes through, this one goes through. This one should go to the side. This one goes through, this one goes through, this one should go to the side. So that's a strategy,
Hmm.
right? And then the next word that you want to mix with it is a word called tactic. All right. So whereas a strategy might be the larger thing, right? A tactic means it's a small part of a strategy that you just micro focus on, and you develop something a little bit more for it,
Hmm.
just to get that thing through or just to examine this specific condition or whatever the case is, right? So the development of this kind of, you know, things with protocols, strategy, and tactics, right? If you have those things,
Hmm.
anything that works, and anything that works consistently,
Hmm.
whether you know the word protocol, strategy, or tactic,
Hmm.
these things, principles must be within those things,
Adhere to.
right?
Hmm.
But the thing is, if you do not understand the breakdown of protocol, strategy, and tactics,
Hmm.
right, then what you'll be doing, you'll be working loosely, but not totally anchored to a principle,
Hmm.
right? And in life, everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing in God's world,
Mm-hmm.
right, that doesn't work on principles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
So I hear you. One of the strategy that I think going forward is one recognizing the population, the Grenadian population in places like Brooklyn or the population outside of Grenada that resides in the U.S. You have any idea that population, the amount of Grenadians in the states?
Well, well, let's put it like this. We have what is called a direct population, because people directly um, move from Grenada to the United States and so on. Then you have the subpopulations, and then the subpopulations, right? That's their children, that's their descendants, and so on
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
on. So it's probably huge. It's probably huge. To really say, nobody knows.
Give
But
us a guess from.
I would say safely within the United States. Okay, let's put direct population. Let's just look at direct population. I would say it's a good 50,000 persons.
Hmm.
Direct,
Hmm.
direct, minimal
Hmm.
50,000
Yeah,
persons. And
their children.
the children, I would say it rounds up to be as much as 125, 150,000 persons.
Yeah,
Anyway, I would say,
yeah.
yeah,
So we have 200,000 already.
just within the United States
Yeah,
and Grenada.
yeah,
I would think so.
yeah. And
Yeah,
in Grenada we have 110,000. So
approximately. Right?
yeah, so one of the things that I know Grenadians abroad love is Grenadian products. And one of the things that the small farmers can benefit from is us doing secondary processing products. Now, in terms of doing those, the key things you always need in business is money, investment, etc. And then you need a market where that investment is going to go to. It seems to me it makes sense investing in secondary processing and shipping it up to the states where there's a big concentration, wherever there's a big concentration of Grenadian or Caribbean people. I think there's a potential market in those things. Obviously, price is an issue as well, but quite often the loyalty of Grenadians are so strong that they will support. Mm.
Yeah, so it's always okay. So this is what I would say, right? Figure out how to make a quality product.
Mhm.
All right, figure out how to, and I'm gonna say it again. Figure out how to make a quality, and I'm gonna add something to it. Figure out how to make a quality product consistently.
Mhm.
I'm not leaving out that word consistently,
Assistant.
right? Figure out how to make a quality
Okay.
product consistently.
Mhm.
And by consistently, I mean within 2 to 3%
Mhm.
variations within, batches or whatever the case
Mhm.
is, right? On noticeable differences between
Mhm.
batches, right?
Yeah.
Figure out also how to package that product in an eye-catching way or in an impactful way,
Mhm.
right? And you know then the other things that comes along with it, such as um, reliable distribution,
Mhm. Mhm.
right, dependable distribution,
Mhm.
and also updates and stuff like that on product status,
Mhm.
product quantity and quantity status,
Yeah.
product location status, that it places the orders. Because the thing that people do not want, not just people. So we're talking about two people don't want it. The person who's buying it and the person who's producing it.
Mhm.
The things that they don't want is uh okay, if I'm buying it, what I don't want to do is get frustrated in my process of purchasing
Mhm.
something from you,
Mhm.
right? And what you don't want is the headache of some people are calling and people are bombarding you with questions about a product that you have produced.
Mhm.
Because what it does is it destroys the effort.
Mhm.
It destroys the effort. It breaks the chain. It breaks the link. You got, in other words, as they say, you got to wheel and come again, etc.,
Mhm.
etc. So it's a whole set of things that's involved,
Mhm.
and I know that sometimes people have good intentions.
Mhm.
I know that things could break down. I know that, you know, but sometimes it's just it's a very casual thing here.
Mhm.
That's what I find. Reliability and people's responsibility is some a lot of times is taken very lightly,
Mhm.
and it's a very frustrating thing to
Yeah.
people who have migrated, who have traveled, who understands the value of time and the value of reliability
Mhm.
better,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It gets to be very frustrating.
Mm.
Most times people will say, well, because, okay, so when I come to Grenada, right? When I come to Grenada in a mindset that I have to, it's Grenada,
Mhm.
right? The language that people will use to dismiss a promise
Mhm.
or an agreement,
Mhm.
if you have to, you by right, you should challenge it,
Mhm.
but you have to dismiss it.
Mhm.
And you have to dismiss it for you, not for their sake, but for your sake,
Mhm.
right? So these kind of things is a very common thing, and most likely people are not realizing. I don't know if they're not realizing it, the detriment of these kind of casualness in the
Yeah.
society.
Yeah, Neil. And I know you're talking from experience because you once taught me how to cook rice consistently in 5 minutes at the same quality, to the same standard all the time. And I know that you've experimented with chicken as well, getting the same quality standard. So you're not talking from a theoretical basis. You've done the experiments and you've done the bits in terms of consistency. So you're not talking lightly. And because you come from that science background, you use the processes which will give you the same result 100, 200, 2 million times. And I think that's important in terms of all of us understanding how it's important to have consistency. So that point, I hope, is well taken by all our listeners, because it's so important if you're going to access a big market. And the thing about the Caribbean market in the United States, there's a crossover. Caribbean people have lots of friends from Europe, from different places, etc. And they will be in the house and they'll be saying, well, where is that? Where can I buy it? So you have a crossover taking place when, your product gets to the United States. Just don't think it's just Caribbean people who are going to be buying it. The market just opens up. I mean, like CMOS, the biggest users of CMOS are down in California. It's not Grenadians or Jamaicans. It's healthy kind of people who want health conscious kind of stuff. And a big bunch of them is down in California. So
Yes.
so you have to be aware that it might go to a Grenadian, but the market then opens up as you move forward.
Just to add to that point, people don't necessarily like consuming too much of what they grow up on.
Mm-hmm.
It seems as though new things or foreign things that taste good attracts and appeals to them
Mm-hmm.
more or better. That's something that I've seen from since growing up,
Uh-huh.
right? For example, I would come here and what I want is pure natural juices,
Mm-hmm.
natural
Yeah.
juice, right? But sometimes the same person that's providing the natural juice for you, they may want a soda, or they may want a box juice,
Yeah.
or a canned juice,
Yeah.
right? And I see it happening so much. And the thing that I'm craving, the thing that I'm longing for, is the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
natural
Yeah.
juice. Everything natural. So somehow there has to be a bit of reprogramming
Hmm.
of people to understand value. And I think it's not just reprogramming of people to understand value, but it's a whole lot of little things that is fragmented in the society of building better human beings, producing better human beings, people that are more solid with less holes in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you could find a way to do that.
Yeah. Neil, let me tell you what you mean. You know, my family are involved in cargo vessels, the schooners.
Yes.
So we go to Trinidad every week and come back. And you know what I've seen since I was a little boy?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the boat is loaded up on Friday with all fresh produce, fresh this, fresh that. And when it comes back, it come back with canned soda, canned this, canned that. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? You know? We give all the nutritious stuff to Trinidad and we take all the kind of processed, flavored stuff, not even real things. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have trade with Trinidad. We should. But I think we must become aware of how the trade is going and what we're doing. It's we well overdue in terms of secondary processing some of the stuff that we have in Grenada. And as you say, people want a can this and a box this, and they don't realize that they have the best.
Yes, yes. Well, okay. So when you look at secondary processing, why is it so? Think about what's happening in the mind of the person who purchases it, right? There's several things that happen. Number one, it tastes good on the tip of the tongue,
Mhm.
right? First rule is a taste, right?
Uh-huh.
Right? Not only that, but it's also so easy to crack open a bottle versus to cut two lemon and cut two gospel and cut two lime and boil some guava to make some juice.
Convenience.
Right. The time, because convenience is a matter of compressing time and processes together, literally giving you a shortcut to get to the result that you want, which is to
Mhm.
satisfy your thirst or quench your taste or whatever the case is. So convenience really beats a lot of things. That's why Milo beat cocoa tea. That's why instant coffee beat ground coffee,
Mhm.
right? Because what it does is it compresses the amount of processes that people have to go through in
Mhm.
order to get the result that they
Yeah,
want.
so the convenience, because I once listened to somebody talking about our ground provision,
Hmm.
and he was a Grenadian as well, but lived abroad a lot. He was into marketing, and he was saying it's the convenience that we need to look at when we want to sell our dashing. Why can't we peel it and put it in a bag and put it in the supermarket? Why can't we peel our
Yes,
yam and
yes, yes,
so
yes,
people take it
yes,
home, wash it, and put it
yes,
in their pot?
yes, yes.
And so that is something that we probably have to concentrate on in terms of that secondary processing of products. But we say it and we listen to it in the lecture, and then nothing is done about it. So there has to be a drive. How do we implement?
Well, but you still have some situations, because the other situation is cost, right?
Mhm,
Because time to cook, even if you do the cutting and the chopping of it, it
mhm,
still requires time to cook,
mhm,
right? And time to cook also requires another resource, which is gas,
mhm,
right? So it still comes back to money that is spending plus time that is spent
mhm,
to get the result. Okay,
mhm,
like we say, it's more nutritious, it's better for you, it's healthier, etc.,
mhm.
etc. But the trick, the people have recognized that a long time, and that's why they find, okay, so when you buy some Milo, not only is it instant,
Mhm.
but the way it's packaged,
Mhm.
oh, it makes you feel like you could kick that soccer ball, do a Pele banana kick with it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
makes you feel as though you could do all those things with it. So it comes with a certain, not just a certain. Okay, number one, the first rule is taste.
Mhm.
The first rule.
Hmm.
All right, and it tastes good. It
Yeah.
tastes good,
Yeah.
right?
With
And
the sugars.
yes, it tastes good, right? So
Yeah.
there's you can't escape that,
Hmm.
right? The first rule is taste. The second rule is ease, right? Ease of ease of creating the result that you
Yeah.
want. And maybe the third rule is time, right?
Yeah.
And maybe there could even be a fourth rule is visual,
Yeah,
visual
visual
effects,
is very important
right?
when you look at it. Like food,
Yeah,
they say if you want people to eat, make it look nice.
right,
You know,
right.
it's
So yeah,
very, very important. But
even wash up, even wash up and clean up
mhm,
is a big thing too,
yeah, yeah,
right? So all these little things. So people may not break down the processes like what we're doing here, but at the end of the day, what everybody does is feel the load associated with
yeah.
starting it and ending it. You
Okay.
feel that load,
Yeah,
and with the secondary processing or the altered food, what you do is you feel a lot less
yeah,
load with it.
yeah. Let me just mention a little thing that I saw in New York when I was there. Is the cocoa balls. It seemed them people love the cocoa balls in New York, and it
The who people?
yeah, people seem to
Yeah.
love the cocoa balls. What is it this with this cocoa ball?
Well, the thing is, okay. I think there's a saying that familiarity breed content.
Hmm.
Okay, it means that you have too much of one thing, you don't appreciate it anymore. But when you
Hmm.
travel overseas, right,
Hmm.
and you come to understand the value of what you have, you want to make sure you stack up on it. So maybe, like you said, and like we said earlier on, it comes back to respecting the diaspora,
Hmm.
respect